I caught my cheating wife when she blurted out the wrong name in therapy. My name is Ethan Caldwell, a 38-year-old architect living in the quiet suburbs of Maplewood, New Jersey. My wife, Laura, and I had been married for 10 years, and from the outside, our life looked picture perfect. We had a charming two-story house with a white picket fence, a golden retriever named Max, and a 5-year-old daughter, Sophie, who was the light of our lives. Laura, 36, worked as a marketing consultant, and her vibrant personality and sharp wit were what drew me to her back in college. We were the couple everyone envied, always hosting barbecues, planning family vacations, and sharing laughs over wine-soaked evenings. But beneath the surface, cracks had started to form. Over the past year, Laura had grown distant. She was always on her phone, claiming it was work, and her late-night meetings had become more frequent. I brushed it off at first. Her job was demanding, and I trusted her completely. But the late nights turned into unexplained absences, and her affection toward me dwindled. She'd snap at me for small things, like leaving dishes in the sink, and our once passionate conversations became perfunctory exchanges. I suggested couples therapy to reconnect, hoping to salvage what we had. Laura agreed, though she seemed hesitant, almost as if she was humoring me. The therapy session that changed everything. We found Dr. Rachel Bennett, a highly recommended therapist in our area, and booked our first session for a rainy Tuesday evening in October. The office was cozy, with soft lighting, a plush beige couch, and a box of tissues on the coffee table. Dr. Bennett, a warm but direct woman in her 50s, asked us to start by sharing why we were there. I went first, explaining how I felt Laura pulling away, how I missed our connection, and how I wanted to fight for our marriage. Laura nodded along, her hands folded tightly in her lap, her eyes darting to the floor. When it was her turn, Laura spoke in vague terms. "Work's been stressful," she said, her voice clipped. "I haven't been myself, and I know it's affecting us." Dr. Bennett pressed her gently, asking for specific examples of what was causing the strain. Laura fidgeted, her fingers twisting the hem of her sweater. Then, out of nowhere, she said something that made my blood run cold. "I just feel so torn, you know? I love Ethan, but when I'm with James, it's like I can breathe again." The room went silent. My heart thudded in my chest, and I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. Dr. Bennett's eyebrows shot up, but she quickly composed herself. "James?" she asked, her tone neutral but probing. "Can you tell us more about who James is?" Laura's face turned ashen. She stammered, her eyes wide with panic. I meant Ethan. I meant Ethan," she blurted, her voice trembling. But it was too late. The name hung in the air like a guillotine. I stared at her, my mind racing. Who the hell was James? The unraveling. I didn't confront her right away. I was too stunned, my thoughts a jumbled mess. Dr. Bennett sensed the tension and shifted the conversation to safer ground, but the damage was done. Laura barely spoke for the rest of the session, and I sat there replaying her words in my head. When we got home, Sophie was already asleep, and Laura tried to act normal, asking if I wanted tea. I couldn't hold it in any longer. "Who's James?" I asked, my voice low but sharp. Laura froze, her hand on the kettle. "What are you talking about?" she said, but her voice wavered. "You said his name in therapy, Laura. You said you feel like you can breathe with him. Who is he?" She tried to deflect, saying she was stressed, and misspoke, but I wasn't buying it. I pressed harder, and finally, she broke. Tears streamed down her face as she admitted the truth. James was a coworker, a senior account manager at her firm. They'd been working closely on a project for months, and what started as late-night work sessions turned into something more. She swore it was just emotional at first, but 6 months ago it became physical. They'd been sneaking around, hotels, his apartment, even our car once when I was out of town. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. The woman I loved, the mother of my child, had been living a double life. I asked if she loved him. She hesitated, and that silence was answer enough. The aftermath. The next few weeks were a blur of pain and decisions. I moved into the guest room, unable to share a bed with her. We agreed to keep things civil for Sophie's sake, but every interaction was strained. I dug deeper, checking her phone records and emails, something I'd never done before. The evidence was overwhelming. Flirty texts, coded messages about meetings, and even a photo of them together at a hotel bar, her hand on his arm, smiling in a way she hadn't smiled at me in months. I confronted her again, this time with proof. She didn't deny it anymore. Instead, she begged for forgiveness, saying it was a mistake, that she still loved me and wanted to save our family, but the trust was gone. Every time I looked at her, I saw her with him. I saw the lies, the betrayal, the life she'd built behind my back. We continued therapy, but it wasn't about rebuilding anymore. It was about navigating the end. Dr. Bennett helped us set boundaries and figure out how to co-parent Sophie. I filed for divorce a month later, and Laura didn't fight it. She moved out, staying with her sister while we sorted out the house and custody. James, it turned out, wasn't interested in a serious relationship. He ended things with her shortly after I found out, leaving her to face the wreckage alone. Rebuilding from the ruins. It's been 6 months since that therapy session, and I'm still picking up the pieces. Sophie's doing okay, though she asks why Mommy doesn't live with us anymore. I tell her we both love her, but sometimes grown-ups need to live apart. It's the best I can do for now. I've started seeing a therapist on my own to process the betrayal, the anger, the grief. Some days I feel like I'll never trust again. Others I feel a flicker of hope, like I'm rediscovering who I am without Laura's shadow. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I deserve better than lies. That moment in therapy when Laura said the wrong name was the unraveling of our perfect life. But it was also the moment I started to take mine back.